Okay, so you know that feeling. When you're really, really trying, like you've cleaned up your diet, you've cut out the obvious stuff, right? Junk food, sodas, you're getting exercise in, and still nothing. The scale, just it refuses to move, or the inches. It's so frustrating, isn't it?
No, absolutely. It's that wall so many people hit. And, the first thing they do is blame themselves.
Yeah, like I must be cheating, or I'm not working hard enough.
Exactly. They immediately think it's about quantity, like sneaking calories, when often the real issue is hiding in the details, the actual composition of the food.
Right. And I think that brings us perfectly to the kind of radical idea for this deep dive today, which is honestly maybe a bit hard to believe at first, that the thing quietly messing with your goals isn't necessarily the chocolate bar you're avoiding, but maybe it's the natural, seemingly healthy stuff right there in your fruit bowl. We're talking about common fruits that, because of their specific chemistry, maybe their sugar load or just how dense they are, they end up acting like metabolism saboteurs.
And that's really where we need to get smarter about the word natural. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it works perfectly for every goal. Not all natural sugars are the same, not all fibers, not all starches. We've got to look deeper than just eat healthy. Portion awareness, density, specific starches, that's crucial if you want results that actually stick.
It sounds fascinating, but I have to say, it feels like a tough sell. I mean, if I grab a handful of grapes instead of potato chips, isn't that just better?
Automatically, it is definitely a better choice, yes. But is it the best choice if your specific goal is optimizing fat loss? Maybe not, according to the sources we're looking at. And that's really our mission in this deep dive, right? We're digging into your material to pinpoint 5 really common, safe-seeming fruits, explain the actual trick, the chemical or metabolic reason why they can interfere, and then importantly, offer smarter swaps. So it's not about just eating less, it's about eating smarter with real awareness.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's unpack this. Where do we start? What's number 5 on this hit list?
All right, let's kick off with number 5. This one involves something that feels a bit like a hidden chemical drama.
Ooh, okay. Number 5 is the apricot. Now, I like apricots. They're full of fiber, vitamin A. They look like these perfect little sunny snacks. But the sneaky trick you mentioned, it's not the fruit flesh itself, is it? It's the seed, or the kernel inside the seed.
Exactly. We're talking about something most people just toss out or ignore, the kernel inside the pit. And what's really interesting from the chemical standpoint is that these kernels contain a compound called amygdalin.
Amygdalin, okay. And what does that do?
Well, when it gets into your digestive system, specifically with your gut enzymes, it actually breaks down and converts into a form of cyanide.
Whoa, hold on. Cyanide? That sounds pretty alarming.
Okay, yes, but let's be clear. This is really about overconsumption, particularly of the kernels themselves. Some questionable health trends have promoted eating them, which is definitely not advisable. But the point here, for our purposes, is the mechanism itself, this hidden chemical drama. Why introduce that tiny bit of complexity or risk, however small, into a diet focused on metabolic clarity?
Right. You don't need that background noise when you're just trying to grab a healthy snack.
Precisely. You shouldn't have to worry about trace chemicals in your fruit.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So if you love that sort of stone fruit vibe, what's the smarter swap?
The sources point towards peaches or plums. Simple, effective swaps.
Yeah, I can see that. Peaches, plums, you get that great fiber, good for the gut, metabolism friendly, but without any of that hidden chemical stuff in the pit. Just a straightforward, clean choice.
Exactly. You just eliminate that variable completely.
Okay, moving on. Number 4. If number 5 was about hidden chemicals, this one sounds like it's more about volume and how our bodies react. Our 4th saboteur is the strawberry.
Yeah, this one tends to surprise people because strawberries get such good press, right? Low calorie, tons of antioxidants, they taste amazing. You feel good eating them.
Totally. So if they're low calorie, what's the actual problem? Where's the sabotage?
Well, the sneaky trick here isn't really the nutrition profile itself. It's more about a sensitivity issue that pops up with quantity. Think about it. Strawberries are easy to eat a lot of because they're delicious and small. But if you have a sensitive digestive system, or even if you just overdo it, the acidity and maybe even the tiny seeds can cause some friction, digestive irritation.
Ah, okay. So that irritation could lead to inflammation, maybe slow things down metabolically?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
If your body's busy dealing with gut irritation, it's diverting energy from other processes like efficient energy use or fat burning. It's a subtle slowdown.
That's a really interesting angle. So for those times you just want a big, satisfying bowl of something sweet and high volume, What's the better alternative?
You want hydration and really low density. The suggestion is watermelon or cantaloupe.
Oh, perfect swaps. They're mostly water, naturally sweet, and you can eat a huge amount for hardly any calories. Very satisfying without potentially irritating a sensitive system. Smart.
It's about intentional snacking, right?
Yeah.
Volume without the potential downside.
Okay, let's get into the heavy hitters now. Number 3. This one is everywhere. It's like the poster child for healthy fats. The avocado.
Oh, yes, the avocado. It's kind of the ultimate paradox, isn't it? Creamy, delicious, packed with those amazing monounsaturated fats, vitamins, minerals. It is incredibly nutrient dense, and that's actually the problem or the sneaky trick when we're talking about weight management.
You mean the calorie density bomb?
Exactly that. You're looking at roughly 160 calories per 100 grams. That's quite high for a fruit. People hear good fats and sometimes they mentally treat it like it's lettuce or something, but those calories stack up fast.
Oh, I'm so guilty of this. Thinking it's healthy fat, I'll just use the whole avocado on my toast. How quickly does that sneak up?
Instantly. A whole medium avocado. That could easily be 300, maybe even 400 calories just from the fruit alone, added to whatever else you're eating. So avocado isn't really about finding a swap. It's about adjusting the application. It needs conscious moderation.
So balance, not just indulgence, because it's healthy.
Precisely. The sources talk about intentional balance, not reckless indulgence, which I think sums it up well.
So how do we use it intentionally then? Sparingly?
Think of it more like a condiment or an accent, not the main event. A thin smear on toast, maybe a small amount mashed into guacamole for creaminess, a few slices on a salad for texture. The moment you start scooping out big portions, you're likely working against your calorie goals, even though the nutrients themselves are great.
That high density is definitely a mental trap. It's a good reminder that, calories still count, even healthy ones.
Absolutely. That health halo effect can be tricky, sometimes just as tricky as avoiding obvious junk food if portion control goes out the window.
Okay, top 2 now. Getting serious. Number 4 brings us to grapes.
Ugh, grapes. The ultimate easy pop-in-your-mouth snack, right?
Yeah.
Small, super sweet, and because they come in a bunch, it's so easy to just mindlessly eat way more than you intended while you're, watching TV or working.
And the sneaky trick here is called a sugar digestion double whammy. Okay, let's break that down. First, the sugar load.
Yeah, if you actually look at grapes, they are packed with natural sugar. It's quite high for their size. If you, say, counted out 100 grapes, which isn't that hard to eat, you're looking at around 17 grams of sugar right there.
Wow.
Eat a decent-sized bunch, and you could easily hit 30, 40, maybe even 50 grams of sugar pretty quickly. That can definitely spike your insulin and kind of halt metabolic efficiency.
That's a significant sugar hit from something that seems so light.
Okay, and what about the digestion part of the double whammy? Well, the sources mention a few things. The skins can be a bit tough for some people's digestive systems to break down fully. The tiny seeds, if they have them, can be irritating. And they're also quite acidic, which over time isn't great for tooth enamel. So it's not one huge thing, maybe, but a combination of little factors that work against smooth digestion and absorption.
Okay, so we need a swap that's better for blood sugar, better for digestion. What's the classic metabolically friendly choice here?
The wonderful, humble apple.
Apples. Makes sense. They've got that great pectin fiber, right? Which helps regulate digestion and definitely makes you feel fuller, more satiated than grapes would.
Exactly. That satiety factor is huge. Plus, apples are noted in the research for helping with blood sugar regulation. And there's even mention of them helping fight cellulite accumulation, which suggests a more positive metabolic effect overall. Much more proactive choice.
All right, we've arrived at the number 1 spot. The top metabolism saboteur on this list. This is the fruit that's just everywhere. Gym bags, smoothies, breakfast bowls. Seen as the ultimate health food, maybe workout fuel. But the sources claim it's quietly inhibiting fat loss. Number 1 is...
The banana.
The banana, yes. It's popular for good reasons. It's convenient, portable, gives you quick energy. But if fat loss is the primary goal, we really need to look closely at its calorie density and specifically the type of starch it contains.
Okay, this is where you said it gets really interesting. Density-wise, it's about 90 calories per 100 grams, pretty high for fruit. But the trick isn't just calories, it's this resistant starch. What's the deal with that?
Right, resistant starch. It sounds good, and sometimes it is because it acts a bit like fiber. It slows down energy release, prevents massive sugar spikes. However, the potential issue is that when you consume too much of it, this resistant starch can actually signal your body to prioritize using carbohydrates for energy. And crucially, slow down the access to your stored fat reserves. It can, in effect, inhibit the enzymes needed for fat burning. Whoa, so even though the energy release is slow, it's basically telling your body, hey, hold off on burning fat, we've got these carbs to deal with first. That's like hitting the brakes on fat metabolism if optimization is your goal.
That's the potential downside, exactly. If you're maybe training fasted or trying to get into a state where you're really tapping into fat stores, a banana might switch that mechanism off. So portion size is absolutely critical here. A small amount might be fine, but a large, especially overripe banana before a workout aimed at fat loss could be counterproductive.
Okay, so if we want to ditch the banana for something that actively boosts metabolism, what's the ultimate upgrade?
The superior swap, particularly maybe earlier in the day, is grapefruit.
Grapefruit, yes. Known metabolism booster, helps with insulin regulation, and the density difference is huge, right?
Massive. Grapefruit is only around 40 calories per 100 grams, less than half the banana. And what's really compelling is the specific research finding mentioned. Studies suggest eating just half a grapefruit before meals can actually help accelerate weight loss, likely due to its effect on blood sugar management.
Now that is actionable, a measurable difference.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so let's recap quickly. We've covered 5 surprising fruits, apricots with their hidden chemical issue,
Strawberries and the quantity sensitivity problem.
avocado, the calorie density trap,
Grapes with that sugar and digestion double whammy.
and finally the banana, inhibiting fat-burning enzymes because of its resistant starch.
And the main takeaway, really, as we pull this all together, is that optimizing your diet isn't just about cutting things out randomly. It's about intentional awareness. Knowing the actual mechanism behind why a food affects you, that empowers you to make much smarter, more surgical choices for your specific goals.
So we want you listening right now to just take a moment and think. How many of these fruits, apricots, strawberries, avocado, grapes, bananas, have been regulars in your diet? Things you trusted, thought were helping, but might have been unintentionally slowing you down because you didn't know about these specific tricks.
Yeah, and the immediate action step is pretty simple, isn't it? Go check your kitchen, your fruit bowl, see if these saboteurs are there, and maybe start experimenting with the smarter swaps we talked about. Plums instead of apricots, watermelon instead of a huge bowl of strawberries, grapefruit instead of banana. Just making that conscious shift is huge.
This has definitely been a bit of a wake-up call about things we often take for granted as just plain healthy.
It really has. And maybe, as a final thought for you to chew on after this deep dive, if even something as universally accepted and natural as fruit needs this level of specific awareness, thinking about starches, density, digestion, what other common, seemingly healthy staples in your diet, maybe certain whole grain breads, types of yogurt, you name it, might also deserve a closer look for true metabolic optimization?
That's a powerful question to end on. The potential for optimization is everywhere if you know where and how to look. Thank you for guiding us through this fascinating look at your source material today. We really hope this helps you all keep questioning, keep learning, and keep making smarter choices.